Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox, on a wonderful cold but sunny day. Local weather may vary, of course, but where I am, cold and sunny. Now, Scotland are about to spend the Scottish Government anyway, is about to spend £45 million worth of your money to put up 20-mile-an-hour road signs. But this is a bit of an oddity, isn't it? It's almost as though they don't know what they're doing. After all, they claim they want cleaner air. If you want cleaner air, you wouldn't put up 20-mile-an-hour road signs. It's mixed messages. But also, most cars can't handle it very well, doing 20 mile an hour for extended periods of time. It will damage engines. And so you're having this situation where cars become incredibly unclean. They're driving too slowly. People are concentrating so much on the speed, which is unnaturally slow, in order to comply with a law that will achieve virtually nothing and yet will be loathed by all, doomed to fail, as indeed is so many things that the SNP propose, and will be another reason, I think, for people to say, no, I'm done with the SNP. So, I mean, in that respect, it's excellent. They're having the same problem in Wales, and strangely enough, there's calls there to reverse this 20-mile-an-hour zone because they've seen the problems it causes. Let's have a look to see why, yet again, the SNP are a bunch of morons who haven't got the first clue about any of their policies. Here goes. Now, I described it as an SNP policy. You can bet your bottom dollar this is out of the little fetid imagination of the Greens. I mean, if you really want something stupid doing, who do you go to? It's the Greens. On one hand, they say they want clean air. On the other hand, they want cars to drive very, very slowly in an inappropriate gear, burning more fuel per distance than if they were in a higher gear, therefore being dirtier, putting more particulates in the air. And where are they doing it? In built-up areas. It's madness. These people don't understand basic physics. Not hard if you've got a brain. And that, of course, is the problem. This is the Greens we're talking about. They have got an IQ of about 43 between them. SNP government to spend £45 million on bonkers 20-mile-an-hour speed limits as Scots face gridlock on the majority of roads in Scotland. And, of course, £45 million could be better spent on other things. You know, the NHS, schools, a police force. Who knows? The Scottish Government has outlined a huge spend on restricting speeds on the majority of Scotland's roads just to 20 miles an hour, despite fears of traffic jams, as Humza Yousaf and the Scottish Greens were accused of a war on motorists. There's no justification for this speed. People will die because you'll be too busy looking at your speed limit, because cars really struggle going at 20 miles an hour. Of course, while you're busy down looking at that, make sure you don't go over 20 miles an hour. You're not doing that. Not looking forward. What do they think this is going to do? Is it cleaner for the environment? No. Is it going to, help road traffic accident statistics? No. Is it going to annoy everyone? Yes. Is it going to cause animal endangerment by having animals being transported longer time in cramped conditions? Yes. So it's bad for everything, isn't it? There is not one uptick on any of these plans. Oh, apart from the fact that, look at us, we look virtuous. No, you don't. You look ridiculous, as anyone with half a brain can tell you. Scottish Government has been blasted after it was revealed that it plans to spend £45 million of taxpayers' cash on implementing 20-mile-an-hour zones on thousands of roads across the country. Scots will face gridlock and traffic jams on a daily basis as the majority of routes will be converted to become slower. Even though this will destroy economies, this will create many, many more problems, and as I say, will increase air pollution. As part of the Butte House Agreement, the Scottish Greens demanded a blanket change to all 30-mile-an-hour areas, the current average speed limit in the country. SNP ministers have reduced this down to areas of built-up parts of the country, including beside schools and in town or city centres. Yes, because the one place where you really want to make air quality worse is in front of a school. But the restrictions will be put in place on 35,929 sections of roads, the majority of the network across the country, excluding trunk roads and motorways. The current deadline for this is to have it done by 2025. They want it before then because they don't want to have to do it after the next election because they know they're going to lose it. But the SNP executive will need to release significant funding to councils. The Scottish Daily Express can reveal that 2 options were discussed by government officials, with the first involving the creation of secondary legislation to push through the 20-mile-an-hour speed limits. They like secondary legislation because it means they can do things without all that bother of having to go to Parliament and face scrutiny. Scrutiny is a bugger for them because anyone who scrutinises anything they say points out all the errors of their ways and shows them that they're complete nincompoops. Polite. But this was rejected in favour of doing it council by council. Again, this was where not every council will agree. Some councils will show sense, will have intelligence and say, this is bonkers. Others will say, oh yes, slaverishly obeying the whims of the Grand Mufti, even though they know he's on the way out, and that any government that comes in afterwards is likely immediately to reverse it. Certainly that looks like the direction of travel in Wales. A similar policy has already been rolled out in Wales, there we go, but has been subjected to criticism that it's caused traffic jams in some places. The devolved Labour government brought it in, but it has even been slated by a party MP, with Chris Bryant calling it bonkers in some areas and said it was causing difficulty for buses and care workers. And of course animal safety as well is another issue, as I mentioned. In Wales, the 20-mile-an-hour limit applies on all restricted roads, which are defined as roads with lampposts placed not more than 200 yards apart. These are typically located in residential and built-up areas of high pedestrian activity. However, people will be driving very, very badly because they're looking at the speed limit. They won't see things. Also, being slow, your mind wanders. Blah, blah, blah. Look at that. Da, da, da. It's frustrating. People get frustrated. And all sorts of problems. A similar plan is being adopted in Scotland, where another equally stupid government is in power. Except councils will need to decide which routes are suitable and which are not. But the proposals have been labelled another example of the SNP Greens' war on motorists, joining low emission zones and plan for congestion zones. Because, hey, we don't want people actually going to work. We don't want to make, working attractive. We want the whole country to be unemployed because they can't get to work. Scottish Conservative Shadow Transport spokesman Graham Simpson, MSP, told the Daily Express, we warned the Greens that this blanket rollout of 20-mile-an-hour zones was an utterly flawed proposition, and the exorbitant cost of doing it should make it a complete non-starter. Of course, and the great thing is whoever comes in afterwards will reverse it because they know it's a surefire vote winner. If you're sitting there in 2 years' time and everyone's driving really frustrated with it, and the Tories say, hey, we're going to reverse this, vote us in, boom. Council by council, of course, but council by council. They say, vote us in this council, we'll have it. And the Tories will get in. Because people are fed up with being controlled like this. There's no reason for it. It's bad for the environment. It doesn't make sense. It's just another way of the SNP government just pushing the thumb down. Putting the boot on a human face. Coming up. This is one of those that must be rejected at every single stage. Questioned. Slowing down the legislation, trying to get it past 2026 so that it doesn't get passed within this government. Alternatively, of course, if you have a change of leadership, which may come very, very soon, and Humza Yousaf is out and Kate Forbes is in, then the Greens have gone, and they can dump all these mad, stupid, idiotic, moronic ideas that the Greens keep having because they've got nothing else to do apart from sitting around with the little circle jerks going, oh, what else can we do to destroy people's hopes, dreams and ambitions? How else can we make their lives miserable? Because that's all the Greens are. Because their lives are so miserable. You have to be miserable to be a Green, don't you? You suck all the joy out of life. Honestly, it's like wringing out the neck of a chicken, isn't it, to be a Green? Anyway, I shall stop there. Thanks very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video, and I will speak to you later. Bye.